Welcome back to our series on the heart of a leader. Let me ask you something. How do people feel when they're around you? Do they feel safe? I'm not talking about physical safety here. I'm talking about emotional safety. Do your team members feel like they can speak up, share ideas, make mistakes, and still be respected? Because if they don't, let me tell you, you're leaving so much untapped potential on the table. Psychological safety isn't just a nice idea. It's the foundation for trust, innovation, and growth in any team. And today I'm going to show you how to build it. First, let's talk about trust. The fastest way to build trust is through vulnerability. That's right, showing your humanity. Most leaders think they have to look perfect, never make mistakes, never show weaknesses. But let me tell you something powerful. People connect with your imperfections, not your perfection. When you admit, this is something I'm working on, you give your team permission to do the same. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It tells your team, I'm real, I'm human, and you can be too. And that's where trust begins. Now, once you've built that foundation of trust, the next step is creating space for voices to be heard. Here's the truth. Most people are afraid to speak up. They're afraid that they're going to sound stupid. They're afraid that they'll be judged. And it's your job as a leader to crush that fear. How? By encouraging input, even when it's messy or imperfect. Ask open-ended questions like, what do you think? Or how would you handle this? And when someone shares an idea, don't jump straight to criticism. Even if it's not the best idea, acknowledge it. Hey, thank you for sharing that. Let's explore it further. When people feel valued for contributing, they'll keep contributing. Now let's get real here. You know that mistakes are going to happen. Someone on your team's going to mess up, and the question is, how do you respond? If your default is anger or frustration, guess what? Your team will start hiding their mistakes. And when mistakes are hidden, they grow. But when you respond with empathy, when you say, hey, I get it, I've been there too, but let's figure out how to fix this together. That's when you create a culture where people aren't afraid to own their mistakes. Empathy doesn't mean you're soft on accountability. It means you hold people accountable with compassion. And that's the difference between fear-based leadership and trust-based leadership. Now, as a leader, you've set the tone for how your team approaches challenges. And if you pretend to know it all or resist change, your team will mirror that. But if you model curiosity, adaptability, and a willingness to learn, you will create a culture of growth. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of pointing fingers, ask, what can we learn from this? When your team sees you embracing learning, they'll follow suit. And when everyone's learning, the whole team gets better, faster. Now finally, let's talk about structure. Psychological safety doesn't mean there are no rules. It means that there are clear and fair rules. So set ground rules for communication like everyone gets a chance to speak, or critique ideas, not people, or disagreements need to stay respectful. When the boundaries are clear, people feel safe to engage because they know the rules of the game. And that's how you create an environment where ideas flow freely without chaos. So here's my challenge for you this week. Focus on creating psychological safety in your team. Start small. Maybe it's being vulnerable about a mistake you've made or asking someone quiet in a meeting what they think. And here's the big one, committing to responding with empathy when someone messes up. That one moment can transform the way your team sees you. Now remember this, people don't thrive in fear. They thrive in trust. Be the leader who builds trust, who creates that safety, and who unlocks the full potential of their team. You've got this. Keep growing, keep leading, and let's make an impact together. Because the greatest leaders don't just lead, they create environments where others can thrive. And that starts with you.